The research vessel drifted through the quiet lane of the outer system as the faint glow of distant stars shimmered against the hull. Among the crew stood a single human specialist named Leon, known for his calm nature and his unusual ability to remain steady in strange environments. This ability made him the natural choice when the captain asked for a volunteer to approach the unknown structure drifting beyond the ship's scanners. The structure did not match any cataloged species. It resembled a metallic chrysalis floating in the emptiness. No thermal signatures. No movement. Yet the crew sensed something inside. Leon understood that curiosity would not let any of them rest until the mystery was solved. A small shuttle carried him across the void. The interior lights flickered against the polished plates of his suit as he maneuvered closer to the massive shell. Its surface shimmered like moving silver, and the closer he came, the more he felt a subtle pulse rising from within. He hovered his hands over the outer layer and felt a soft vibration. It reminded him of something breathing. The shuttle scanner showed nothing harmful, but it also failed to identify any known elements. Leon took a slow breath and stepped forward. The surface parted like petals of a metal blossom. No alarms, no resistance. Leon paused at the threshold. Warm air drifted from within the interior chamber and carried a scent he could not identify. He began recording observations as he stepped inside. The chamber consisted of interweaving strands of luminous metal forming a cradle around a central figure. The figure floated with folded limbs and gently rising breath. It was a woman of an unknown species, though her shape resembled a tall human form. Her hair shimmered with faint light as if it stored the glow of distant stars. He studied her features and felt his breath slow. She radiated an aura of serenity, so striking that he found himself whispering, barely aware he had spoken. He whispered, "She is the most beautiful I have seen." The chamber carried the sound with a soft echo. He did not expect her to respond, yet her glowing eyes flickered open. She turned slowly, as if waking from a long and delicate dream. Her gaze settled on him. A brief moment of confusion crossed her face before astonishment replaced it. Leon stiffened. He feared he had triggered a defense mechanism, but there was no anger in her expression, only surprise. She lowered her feet to the floor and stood with a graceful balance. The lights of the chamber brightened around her as if welcoming her return. Her voice came softly with a smooth resonance that matched the warm air around them. She spoke a short string of words he could not understand. Her tone carried a question. He raised his hands in a calm gesture and replied that he meant no harm. She tilted her head slightly. She repeated a sound. Leon recognized that it resembled his name in her voice. She pointed at him, then placed her hand on her chest and spoke another word. He understood she was offering her own name. It sounded like Lyra. He repeated it carefully. She looked pleased. Their first exchange was complete. She observed his suit and his cautious posture. Her hand brushed lightly across a bright strand of metal near her. The entire chamber shifted with a soft hum. The faint walls began to retract, revealing a long corridor leading deeper into the structure. Leon knew he should return to his ship with this information, but Lyra beckoned him forward. Her movements carried a calm assurance that quieted his hesitation. He followed her through the corridor. The deeper they walked, the more the walls brightened around her presence. She approached a tall archway that responded to her touch. Beyond it lay a grand space filled with suspended shapes of crystal. Each crystal held faint images of worlds he did not recognize. Lyra touched one, and the crystal shifted to display a world scarred by storms and broken structures. She spoke with a quiet sadness. Though he did not know her language, he recognized grief. She touched another crystal and showed a world bathed in bright oceans. Then another. Then more. Each crystal displayed a different place, and each image flickered with fragments that suggested memories. Leon realized they were not simple pictures. They were fragments of her past. He began to understand. Lyra was the last survivor of a journey that had taken her across countless systems. Her people must have placed her in stasis inside the chrysalis to preserve her until she was found. Her eyes settled on Leon with a gentle but intense focus. She approached him and placed her hand on his chest plate. The touch sent a faint resonance through his suit. The surrounding crystals shifted to display newer images. He saw the stars near the human territories. He saw fragments of his ship. He saw the shuttle drifting across the void. She had sensed all of it during her awakening. Her chamber must have absorbed every vibration from outside. She stepped back as the crystals dimmed. Leon felt a sense of responsibility growing within him. She was alone. Her vessel was ancient. Its systems operated at the boundary between technology and something organic. She needed assistance. He activated his communicator to signal the main ship. Before he could speak, Lyra raised her hand with a gentle but firm expression. The crystals surrounding them began to tremble. One of them displayed the image of a large shape in the system. Leon realized it was not natural. A massive craft approached from the far side of the star. The readings on his wrist device spiked. The ship was not human. It was not hers either. It moved with aggressive velocity. Lyra touched another crystal, and it displayed symbols that resembled warnings. Leon understood what she feared. The approaching vessel might be here to hunt the chrysalis or claim what remained of her people's technology. The vessel's engines emitted a predatory pulse across the system. Leon sent an urgent message to his ship, telling them to prepare shielding. Before he could explain more to Lyra, the structure beneath them quivered. The chrysalis reacted to the approaching threat. The walls brightened, then dimmed, as if conserving energy for a final response. Lyra pressed her hand to the floor, and the tremors slowed. The control she held over the ancient structure impressed Leon. She turned to him and spoke with firm resolve. Though he did not understand her words, her meaning was clear. She intended to defend the chamber, and his presence came with risk. But she did not want him to leave. Leon refused to step back. He pointed toward her, then toward the crystals that displayed the approaching danger. He made it clear that she was not facing this alone. Lyra hesitated. Her eyes softened. She accepted his resolve. She led him toward a smaller chamber where a set of ancient devices extended from the floor. Their shape resembled a mix of armor and amplifier. She activated one of them and stepped inside as it closed around her with a cocoon of bright metal. The structure molded to her form and created a sleek protective layer. She looked powerful yet graceful inside it. A second device extended from the floor. Leon examined it. It resembled a containment frame rather than armor, but it hummed with strong energy. Lyra gestured for him to step inside. He obeyed, trusting her judgment. The device sealed around him in a glow of soft light. He did not feel trapped. Instead, he felt lighter. The readings on his display spiked. The device linked to his suit and amplified its strength. He felt a surge of energy pass through him. A deep vibration resonated through the chrysalis. The hostile vessel had begun emitting disruptive waves. Lyra clenched her hands. She stepped forward to the main corridor. The walls opened ahead of her. Leon followed closely. The chrysalis exterior began to shift. Metallic plates detached from the surface and formed glowing shields around the vessel. The hostile craft responded with a burst of energy. The impact rippled across the shields. Lyra raised her arm and sent a pulse of bright light toward the disturbance. The pulse struck the hostile wave and neutralized part of its charge. Leon watched her movements carefully. Her efficiency came not from aggression, but from precision. She did not attack. She countered. She defended. Leon remembered the fragments of her past, projected through the crystals. Her people were explorers, not conquerors. But their technology allowed them to resist when cornered. The hostile vessel fired again. The blast cut through one of the shields and struck the chrysalis hull. The chamber shook. Leon steadied himself as Lyra stepped forward and pressed her hand against a control pillar. The chrysalis responded by releasing a field of shimmering particles into space. The particles formed a wide barrier that distorted the enemy's aim. Leon realized the barrier created a protective zone around both vessels. The hostile craft hovered with hesitation. It analyzed the new defense. Then it unleashed a stronger beam. The beam cut through the particle field and struck the chrysalis again. Leon could feel the structure weakening. Lyra stepped back with frustration. She pressed one hand to her chest as if steadying herself. The connection between her and the vessel ran deep. If the chrysalis suffered damage, so did she. Leon rushed to her side and placed a supportive hand on her arm. She looked at him with weary eyes. He understood that the enemy vessel would not stop. His own ship remained too far to intervene with force. Yet he felt the amplified energy coursing through his suit. The containment frame had not given him a weapon. It had given him strength. He pointed toward the control pillar and then toward himself. He offered to channel energy through the chrysalis systems. Lyra stared at him. Her expression shifted from uncertainty to trust. She guided him to the